BadgerLink is Wisconsin's online library, providing residents with a collection of licensed, trustworthy databases and online resources from 6 content providers. There are over 60 individual online resources available for free from the BadgerLink collection. That's a lot of information. BadgerLink is a collection meant for all Wisconsin residents over their lifetime, so some resources will apply better than others, depending on the user's age and research needs. So how do you know what is available and which resource to recommend to your library users? Today, I will be providing an overview of the most popular or frequently used BadgerLink resources for public library users, while being sure to point out the newest additions to the collection. I will be using the Public Library Resource Guide to highlight these resources, since resource guides were created to do just that, narrow down BadgerLink resources based on an audience or subject area. The Public Library Resource Guide is available on the BadgerLink website, on the For Library Staff page, in the Resource Guide section. We developed this guide to be shared however works best for you, whether that is printing this as a handout to share, or posting the guide on your library website, or using it as a selection tool when putting direct links to resources on your own library website. And more on that at the end of the session. The Public Library Resource Guide provides sections on topics commonly researched using databases and online resources. Topics include auto and engine repair, do-it-yourself or DIY, genealogy, newspapers, health and wellness, reading and literacy, and reference and research. This session will briefly highlight the main differences between each resource within each topical area and offer some ideas for sharing with your library users. Let's start with auto and engine repair. There are 2 resources listed here, Chilton Library and Small Engine Repair Source. Upon clicking on Chilton Library, the link on the guide will direct you to this resource page on the BadgerLink website, where, in addition to the link to the resource itself, you will find a detailed description of the resource, as well as some training materials. A quick note on these training materials: throughout today's session, I will share when a training recording is available on the resources page as seen here, or on the BadgerLink training page. That link will be provided in the slides. Since I will only briefly touch on each of these resources today, I encourage you to seek out these training recordings on resources of particular interest to you or your community members and learn more at a time that works best for you. So clicking on the direct link to the resource from this page will take you to the resources homepage. Chilton Library is new to BadgerLink. This scale resource is a vehicle database trusted by automotive enthusiasts and professionals for over 100 years. Within this resource, library users will find factory-tested service, repair, and replacement information from the original equipment manufacturers, such as diagnostic and troubleshooting information, wiring and vacuum diagrams and detailed schematics, manufacturer-recommended maintenance intervals, technical service bulletins and recalls, and the Chilton labor estimating tool for common vehicle repair procedures. From the home page, there is also a VIN decoder up here at the top. A VIN decoder allows a user to submit their vehicle identification number or VIN and gather valuable information for a car, truck, van, or SUV. There are also more than 2,500 easy-to-access videos and animations organized by vehicle systems and subject matter, and Automotive Service Excellence, or ASE, technician test prep quizzes to assess a user's technical knowledge. Again, this resource is Chilton Library and new to BadgerLink. You can find a recent training recording on Chilton Library that goes into each section I just briefly showed at BadgerLink's Gale support site at support.gale.com/BadgerLink/training. The next resource in auto and engine repair section is Small Engine Repair Source. This EBSCO resource also provides detailed user-friendly repair guides, but it is a bit different in that it provides them for all manner of small engines. As you can see from the browsable homepage of this resource, that includes snowmobiles, boats, tractors, motorcycles, among others. We are hearing these auto and engine repair resources are especially helpful in K-12 shop classes or any technology education courses. So this may be a good connector between your public library and school district or local technical college. The next section is new to the Public Library Resource Guide, the Do-It-Yourself or DIY section. Here, two new to BadgerLink resources are highlighted, Hobbies and Crafts Source and Home Improvement Source. Both are EBSCO resources that provide magazine content on various DIY topics. Hobbies and Crafts Source includes recipes and videos on arts and crafts, home and garden, needle crafts and textiles, and outdoor or indoor recreation. A library user can type in a search term in the search box at the top of the page or utilize the browsable topics on the homepage. Upon selecting a topic like needle crafts and textiles, they will be directed to a page broken out by more detailed search topics in that section. Needle crafts and textiles have quite a few topics within it, and I selected quilting as the example to display since quilting is a common hobby and craft for library users in our Wisconsin communities. You can see the beginning offerings of content when selecting the search includes not only articles from quilting magazines, but also book titles are highlighted in the search results and featured content results. One can also click View All Results to search more options. Also new is Home Improvement Source. Home Improvement Source includes articles and reference books on home improvement and repair projects from electrical to plumbing, remodeling, woodworking, interior design, and gardening. As with Hobbies and Crafts Source, you can type in any search term in the search box at the top of the homepage, find popular topics in an image slider just below the search box, or explore topics of home improvement by room or type of project. Also, like Hobbies and Crafts Source, there are search results of articles and ebooks to discover instructions and guides to specific home improvement projects. This example is repairing ceilings, where you can see a search of 263 results can be further narrowed down using the search filters under the search box, or the relevance search dropdown can be changed to date newest or date oldest, depending on how you want to organize and narrow your results. We encourage you to check out both these new resources and share them widely with your library patrons. You can access a recent training recording provided by EBSCO to BadgerLink users on both of these new DIY resources called EBSCO Resources for the At-Home Enthusiast, found on the BadgerLink training page at badgerlink.dpi.wi.gov/training. Next, we have Genealogy Resources, Archive of Wisconsin Newspapers, Heritage Quest Online, and Newspapers.com Library Edition. Archive of Wisconsin Newspapers provides online access to full-text daily and weekly Wisconsin newspapers from 2005 to 60 days ago, plus newspapers from the 1800s and 1900s. The default view on the homepage of the resource is 2005 to 60 days ago, so you want to click this pink box on the right side of the screen to search historical newspapers. A training recording goes into detail on searching within this resource, found on the BadgerLink training page, a video simply called Archive of Wisconsin Newspapers. Heritage Quest Online is a collection of genealogical and historical sources, including unique primary sources, local and family histories, as well as U.S. federal census, books, cemetery records, city directories, and military records. Heritage Quest Online is a subset of records found in the larger in-library use only resource Ancestry Library Edition. So Heritage Quest Online is great for folks that want to access a bit of information or get started with researching their genealogy, or for those library users that may be homebound or otherwise unable to research in the library. I have provided a training on Heritage Quest Online that you can access, again, from the BadgerLink training page, a video called Heritage Quest Online. Newspapers.com Library Edition World Collection is a historical newspapers archive from the 1700s to the 2000s, containing thousands of well-known regional, state, and small local newspapers in the United States and a few other countries. You can search this resource by name, event, date, and location, as well as a paper search up here at the top, where you will find 150 Wisconsin historical newspaper titles. A training recording called Searching for Newspaper Titles that includes more detailed review of Newspapers.com Library Edition World Collection is available on the BadgerLink training page. I encourage you to check it out if you want more information on this resource, as well as 2 more BadgerLink newspaper resources, Archive of Wisconsin Newspapers that we just mentioned in an earlier slide, and US Newsstream, which we will discuss in a minute. Health and wellness resources on this public library resource guide include Alt Health Watch, Consumer Health Complete, and Health Source Consumer Edition. BadgerLink resources include 1 or 2 additional health-specific resources, but these 3 have a consumer focus rather than an academic or medical professional focus. Alt Health Watch is an alternative health research database focused on complementary, holistic, and integrated approaches to healthcare and wellness. This resource contains over 40 full-text international and often peer-reviewed journals. Subjects include acupuncture, aromatherapy, creative therapies, energy medicine, herbalism, mind-body medicine, and nutrition, among others. Consumer Health Complete is the most comprehensive resource through BadgerLink for consumer-oriented health content from mainstream to holistic medicine. This resource contains 480 full-text magazines and journals, 640 full-text health reference books, ebooks, and encyclopedias, as well as consumer health pamphlets and leaflets from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Food and Drug Administration, National Institutes of Health, and others. Again, this is the most comprehensive resource available through BadgerLink on consumer health information and has the most browsable interface for our library users. The next resource, Health Source Consumer Edition, may feel like a repeat of Consumer Health Complete, but does not have as browsable of an interface. This resource contains a collection of full-text consumer health magazines, health pamphlets, and reference ebooks in addition to the content in Consumer Health Complete. This content covers many health topics, including medical sciences, food science and nutrition, sports medicine, and general health. When directing library users to these health resources, you may want to point out the ability to add databases to their search by clicking on the linked database name above the search box and selecting additional health resources to get the most comprehensive search results. As you can see, you can add Alt Health Watch and Consumer Health Complete to this search of Health Source Consumer Edition to get the ultimate comprehensive search across these multiple EBSCO databases on consumer health content. The newspaper section includes 2 resources we've already briefly talked about, Archive of Wisconsin Newspapers and Newspapers.com, so we will look to the other 2 resources listed here, Newspaper Source Plus and US Newsstream. Newspaper Source Plus provides full-text coverage of some of today's major newspapers. This resource includes 63 million articles from more than 1,200 newspapers, 130 newswires, and 50 news magazines. The dates of coverage vary within this resource, and often there is not same-day or next-day coverage available. US Newsstream, however, has same-day coverage of current and archival to 1980s U.S. news, featuring key national and regional sources, including the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, Los Angeles Times, Boston Globe, Newsday, and Chicago Tribune, as well as over 80 Gannett titles. I like to point this resource out to new BadgerLink users, as the New York Times or Wall Street Journal access is a good starting point for folks when they hit a paywall to these national newspapers. It's very exciting for them to access free through BadgerLink. US Newsstream is another newspaper resource that is highlighted in the Searching for Newspaper Titles training session I mentioned a few slides back, so please check it out to learn more about this helpful resource. The Reading and Literacy section of the Public Library Resource Guide points out a few resources through BadgerLink that offer connections to literature, whether for adults or children, poetry, classic novels, or literary criticism. The first resource is Teaching Books for Libraries, which is similar content as Teaching Books for Schools, a robust resource for K-12 schools, particularly school librarians and English and language arts educators. Teaching Books for Libraries was created with public library staff and users in mind. As you can see from the homepage, there is a section called For Professionals that has a lot of great content for sharing children's and young adult titles with your library users. As library staff, you could use Teaching Books for Libraries to highlight children's literature titles in new ways by introducing them to the author of a book via a video where the author reads that title aloud, or shelf talkers that send the library user to Teaching Books content upon checking a book out and going home, or wanting to learn more about it right there at the library. I should note that Teaching Books for Libraries does not contain the full text of titles within it, but multimedia about and for children's and young adult titles. Literary Reference Source Plus contains a collection of literary criticism and reference works. Also within this resource, library users can find the full text of more than 160,000 classic and contemporary poems, 37,000 classic and contemporary short stories, 8,000 classic novels, and more than 86,000 articles and essays of literary criticism. Again, this EBSCO resource provides the full text of some titles. Novelist is a fiction reading recommendation resource with read-alikes, discussion guides, and reading lists. You or your library users can search for titles by terms of appeal like style and mood. Please note that this resource can be found useful to your library users in addition to you as library staff. And again, this EBSCO resource does not provide full text access to titles, but rather book reviews and synopsis of titles to help you and your patrons decide on reading that title. You can find the recording of a webinar on Novelist and Novelist K8 on the resource page under trainings, as well as the BadgerLink training page. This recording is on some of the great browsing features of Novelist and Novelist K8 for you as library staff if you are interested in diving into this resource more fully. The reference and research section includes many resources, some great for homework help for students of all ages, kindergarten through higher education. But you will also find a few specialized databases for folks with a specific research question or topic. First is Britannica Library, the comprehensive reference and learning resource for children and adults from Britannica Education, or Encyclopedia Britannica, as you may know them. This resource contains encyclopedia articles with images, maps, and games for all ages. There are 4 distinct interfaces and reading levels, as you can see from the homepage: young children, young adults, and reference center. The young children level is new to Britannica Library and was created with the youngest library users in mind. Bright, large images and simple text complexity make for an excellent resource for youth services librarians to share with families of young readers and library users. This new level of Britannica Library has a recently provided training recording on the BadgerLink training page called Britannica Library, New Young Children. Business Source Premier is a business research database with full text journals, profiles, reports, and related news. This resource covers all business disciplines, including marketing, management, accounting, finance, and economics. Non-journal content includes company profiles, as well as country economic reports, industry reports, and market research reports. You may get questions from library users about certain publications on business topics, and the publication search can be handy for this purpose. BadgerLink also provides access to Consumer Reports magazine through EBSCO Resource Master File Complete. This is the full-text PDF version of the popular consumer magazine. Library users can find information on hundreds of consumer products with articles including images, graphs, and charts in full color. You can browse or search full-text articles from 1991 to the current issue. This is another resource I provided with a training recording found on the resource page under training or the BadgerLink training page. Explorer for Everyone is a search interface for multiple EBSCO resources. Explorer for Everyone searches EBSCO specialized databases on business, health, education, history, literature, and science. Library users will find a wide range of formats in their search results, including academic journal articles, magazine articles, newspapers, and reference materials like encyclopedias. Explorer for Everyone is a great resource to direct folks to if you are not sure which BadgerLink resource is right for them, or they have a research question that involves many aspects of life, news, or events. I provided a training on the levels of Explorer available through BadgerLink, as well as the publication finder feature in EBSCO resources. Military and Government Collection is a resource that provides current news of all branches of the military and government. This resource contains nearly 300 full-text journals and magazines, including publications such as Defense Studies, Military Technology, Combat Edge, Foreign Affairs, Naval Forces, and more. This is definitely a very niche resource, but may be of help and use to your community members. Popular Magazines is a BadgerLink website page that lists popular magazines available in Master File Complete. We have included it on the Public Library Resource Guide as a way to tease out the wide breadth of magazine titles available in Master File Complete, especially those titles we have heard library users want to see often. The page includes the title of the publication, as well as a link to the publication page, the years of coverage of full text availability, and the full text format available, as some magazines are best with PDF full text, so users have access to color images and charts just as how they display in the print. When linking to or assisting library users with this page, we ask you to pay attention to the authentication steps at the top when folks are accessing these links outside of the library. These resources listed within 7 topical areas make up the Public Library Resource Guide and provide a great collection of resources from BadgerLink for your public library users. In very briefly highlighting these resources today, I hope an idea for sharing and using them in the library may have been sparked, especially the new resources available in the BadgerLink collection. Again, you can find the Public Library Resource Guide with all the resources I highlighted today on the BadgerLink website, on the For Library Staff page, under the Resource Guide section. You can also share direct links to any BadgerLink resources, including the ones highlighted today from the Public Library Resource Guide, via your web pages on your own library website. You can find these direct links in a sheet also found on the library staff page under the Getting Started section, which is right above the Resource Guide section. Please share these resources with your library users, whether on your website with direct resource links or by sharing the Public Library Resource Guide directly. We know that resources that are shared are used, especially when shared by public library staff at local libraries in our Wisconsin communities. Reach out to us with questions, feedback, or for any additional support in sharing BadgerLink resources at badgerlink@dpi.wi.gov. Thank you for promoting and supporting BadgerLink resources in your public libraries.